Brett Okamoto with ESPN alongside UFC President Dana White. We are gearing up for UFC 238 on Saturday here in Chicago, and it's Wednesday, and Dana White is here. He's excited. We were just talking about the card. Usually don't come in all that early sometimes for
this is the earliest I've been to a fight card in a while.
This one got you excited, huh?
I've been here since Wednesday, so yeah, I'm a little pumped.
Well, tell us about it. Why are you so excited about UFC 238?
This card is stacked with great fights and fights that actually mean something and fights that I want to see personally. I don't want to see them on TV. I want to be here for them.
Yep.
Obviously, we'll go the other way. Ferguson versus Cowboy. Stylistically, this fight is ridiculous. You know, both these guys are killers. Both these guys are hungry for a title shot. Incredibly fun. Jessica Eye. Never been in a better place mentally, physically, and emotionally than she is right now.
Yep.
Looks like she found a weight class that she really belongs in. She's healthy. Just everything is right and perfect, right? And she believes she's going to win this title. And she's going in against a monster in Shevchenko. I mean, she's the second best female fighter on earth, right behind Amanda Nunes, who, in my opinion, is the greatest of all time and one of the greatest fighters, not just female fighters of all time. And then the main event, you know, Cejudo versus Moraes, for the vacant title. I love everything about this fight. Cejudo has proven to be, an absolute stud. He believes that he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest to ever live. And it starts on Saturday. He's going in against a murderer, a killer, a finisher. I'm excited for these fights.
Man, I love in the main event. I love that storyline because it's like Henry Cejudo. You're coming off of a fight against Demetrius Johnson, who's maybe the greatest of all time, and you knock out T.J. Dillashaw in less than a minute. And so it's created the scenario of like, how does he top that? But when I look at Marlon Moraes, it actually could be his hardest contest of the three. I
agree with you 100%. That's why I love that fight. The main event is so good. The Ferguson Cowboy fight is so good. And the rest of the card, there's so many great fights on this card. This thing is live and free on ESPN for the prelims. All the prelim cards are great, and the main card is ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you a question, Dana, and I feel like, not that you've been putting it off, but just that this is a question that you really haven't had an answer to yet, and that is, what is the state of the flyweight division? Here you have the flyweight champion going up to 135 pounds. If Henry Cejudo wins this, I think a lot of people are anticipating, hey, he's just going to be the bantamweight champion, and the flyweight division is going to go away. Is that the case, or do you have other plans?
So this guy believes, and I do too, if he gets past Marlon on Saturday, he believes that he can hold both belts and defend them both at the same time. He wants to be, because you see, when this happens, I love to give guys the opportunity for greatness. To hold two belts at the same time, which is a very hard thing to do, or to win two belts in two different weight classes. Nobody's actually stuck around and defended both. I believe that Cejudo can be that guy, and he is a guy who wants to achieve things that nobody's ever done. That's the way to do it.
So are you coming around on this idea that, and no disrespect at all to Demetrius Johnson, I think he's one of the best to ever do it.
Right.
But are you coming around the idea that maybe fans, it wasn't that they weren't intrigued by 125, maybe they just weren't intrigued by Demetrius Johnson's particular
100%.
run?
100%. I mean, I had a guy who was completely dominant. Every time he fought, he was exciting and, always went for the finish, but people didn't care. Nobody cared whatsoever about Demetrius Johnson. And Cejudo might be that guy that people actually care about.
Why do you think it is? Is it the cape and the crown and the
definitely not that? It's definitely not that. I think it's what he does inside the octagon. Like you said, beating Demetrius Johnson, then turning around and destroying TJ the way that he did. That's what people care about. They don't care about top hats and canes and capes and crowns and all this stuff. They care about your fighting style, and that's why a guy like Moraes too. How do you not like the way this guy fights? This guy's a destroyer. He comes in and he wrecks people fast.
All right, so Tony Ferguson taking on Cowboy Cerrone. Tony flew out to Las Vegas before you guys booked this fight.
Right.
Was there anything that you needed to see out of Tony? Was there any medical document? Everyone kind of knows that he went through a difficult time personally. What did you as a promoter need to see out of Tony Ferguson?
Tony or any other fighter that fights in the UFC, I need to know from a reputable doctor that they're okay to fight. Then Tony and I sat down face to face and handled some business that Tony and I had to handle. Relationship couldn't be better. He couldn't be better. He's ready to go.
What was the relationship problem between you and Tony? Was it the stripping of the belt? Was he angry about that?
100%. Why wouldn't you be angry about being stripped of the belt? Wasn't his fault. Wasn't my fault. It's just one of those unfortunate things that happened. And I feel bad for him, and you know, like I said, but the title and the division have to move on.
Yep.
And when you're 100% healthy, you come back and you dive back in. And that's where we are now. So we got all that settled, and, you know, we're in a good place, and I'm excited.
How strong of an obligation do you feel to try and make that right at some point, though? If Tony does continue to win, it's difficult, though, right? I mean, you've got big names at lightweight, and you've got guys who are deserving of title shots. So where does he fit into that whole thing right now?
This has happened so many times.
Yeah.
People get hurt and things happen and all this stuff. It's never fair. Nothing's fair. Life isn't fair. You know, Tony has to get up, dust himself off, and dive back in, and that's what he's doing on Saturday. He's doing exactly what needs to be done.
One more fight I want to highlight specifically on the card, Tatiana Suarez and Nina Ansaroff.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica Andrade just had a spectacular performance against Rose. Rose was looking good in that fight.
Rose looked incredible
before she lost. But you got Tatiana Suarez, who everybody is, I mean, the entire sport is excited about
100%.
her. What are the stakes of that fight? Is this a number one contenders fight, particularly for Tatiana?
This fight's a big deal. I hate to say number one contenders fight because you never know what's going to happen, you know, during and after a fight with everybody involved to make a title fight. But this is obviously a very, very important fight. You know, for Nina, Tatiana is an up-and-coming rising star that a lot of people have high hopes for, including me. So if Nina can beat her, huge,
be a
right?
heck of a statement.
And then obviously for Tatiana to stay on her trajectory, you know, this is a big fight for her.
Well, let's talk about the sport in general. We're in June now, so you've had about 6 months into this ESPN deal. I understand that you met with some ESPN executives this week.
Yeah.
Tell me what those conversations are like. And this deal between you and ESPN, it is changing a little bit of how you promote and the way that the business of the sport, right? I mean, what are the biggest takeaways so far 6 months into this?
Let me tell you this. So this, we're 5 to 6 months into this deal, and our business is going like this. It's been incredible. It's the power of being in business with ESPN. And again, you know, I love Fox, and my relationship with Fox is incredible. Without them, we're not here. But since we've been in business, we're going to break the record this year for ticket sales. We're right now we're crushing budgets on ticket sales. Record year for us. Ratings, you know, have been incredible. Our bar business, incredible. What's even crazier is that our business, our pay-per-view business outside the United States has grown since the ESPN deal. Every single part of our business has grown. On ESPN Plus, we're pulling the numbers we were pulling on FS1. FS1 is in 89 million homes. ESPN Plus is in a little over 2 million.
So that had to have, obviously all those are great numbers, and that had to have been an especially welcome sign for you, because I got to imagine just for years, Dana, you were trying to get on TV because you wanted as many eyeballs on it as possible, and now you're moving it to a platform that just doesn't have as many eyeballs to begin with.
Which isn't true. That's not true, because we're still putting on the fights that we want to build people on ESPN.
Yep.
And the fights that have happened and that are running on ESPN too. You know what I mean? Not ESPN 2, ESPN also, I should say.
Yeah.
People think they know what they're talking about when they have none of the facts. I actually have the facts. I actually know what I'm doing, and I actually know what the future is, okay? So this is no different than the last 20 years of my life, where you have all these people. When we sold the business, okay? Oh, it's over. They overpaid for it. Now it's going to... Then when our TV deal was up, nobody wants them. They're not going to end up with a TV deal. Look at the TV deal we end up with. Yep. Now that we're in this incredible TV deal, oh, it's going to fail because of this and that. That's all I've heard for 20 years of my life. At what point do you stop doubting me and what I'm doing? Trust me, this business has never been healthier. We've grown so much already in 5 or 6 months with ESPN. Wait till we've been here for 3 years, okay? So if you're sitting around waiting for the doomsday for UFC and ESPN, which is Disney, yeah, good luck, guys. Good luck.
How about specifically the pay-per-view aspect of it? Because that's a big change, right?
Yeah.
With UFC 236, you're going from people are used to buying pay-per-view in a certain way, and now they have to buy it in a different way. What was the...
I told ESPN, you guys are nuts. You should have done this 15 years ago. They should have been in the pay-per-view business 15 years ago. This thing is going to be one of the smartest decisions they have ever made. It's going to be a huge, massive business for them. And It's success. Wait till we work out the kinks in the relationship right now. We've been in business for 5 months, 6 months, right? And everything is going like this. Wait till we've been in business together for 3 years. I love everything that ESPN is doing. I love the direction they're going in with the future of their company. It's the exact same direction I'm going in the future of my company.
Yep.
Timing is everything, and the timing is perfect for this deal, and everything couldn't be better than it is right now.
How about UFC 236 specifically? I'm sure you had an expectation of, okay, we're moving it from traditional pay-per-view platforms to only ESPN+. What were your expectations, and how did the final numbers match up?
We knew that it was going to be tough. What we have to do now, and we're coming up with a whole game plan, is educating people on where it is, how do you get it. You know, there's some kinks that need to be worked out on the pay-per-view side for them. They just got into pay-per-view. It's all brand new to them.
Yep.
These guys are really good, and they're really smart.
Yep.
And once we get it figured out, nothing but up.
I wanted to ask you something and address something that I've seen out there. Some people speculating that because the pay-per-view model has changed, then maybe that's why Conor McGregor doesn't want to come back. Maybe that's why Brock Lesnar didn't come to a deal and come into the UFC, is because they have been partners with you. I mean, this has been your business model for a long time. I'm a partner in pay-per-view, so I get money from pay-per-view.
Right.
So now if they're worried that, hey, it's moving to a different platform and it's not going to sell as much, then they're not going to get as much money. And there has been speculation that has been a kink in some of these negotiations with stars like that.
Completely not true. That's absolutely false. And if you really look at when we were on pay-per-view, right? When we were on traditional pay-per-view, everybody was talking about how the pay-per-view business is dying. It's dying and nobody can pull numbers anymore. Really? We were still pulling 5 to 7 million pay-per-view buys a year when we were on, the dying traditional pay-per-view. You can't listen to any of this noise. That's not why why Brock Lesnar didn't fight. Brock Lesnar got a better deal. Is basically what happened for Brock. And then Conor McGregor. What did I say leading up to the Mayweather-McGregor fight?
That he may never fight again.
Did I not say that?
Multiple times, yeah.
How many times has he fought since then?
Once.
Okay? Conor is in a very unique position, as a fighter. He has tons of money. His whiskey business is off the charts. There are a lot of things. Conor now has the ability to be very calculated, sit back, and play the game the way he wants to. Okay? There's so much more to this than what people speculate. And then as far as this business is going, I'm sure everybody's heard it, WME's trying to go public. You think they're going to go public with the UFC, which is such a huge part of their portfolio, if everything is going down or anything is uncertain? Of course they're not.
Yeah.
First of all, these people who speculate are paid to do that. So every day they have to say something or write something or do something about the sport. Do you know what they know? What I tell them. That's what they know. And they don't know anything until I tell them. And it's been that way for the last 20 years. I have been the force that has been pushing this sport forward, and our business right now could not be better. I'm working on what we're going to do 3 years from now. I'm the one that's driving this business forward. So to listen to any of these people, which I don't, I just stay at home and I do my thing and keep doing what we're doing. And I don't know, the next couple of weeks, we're having all the media out, and I've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce everybody to the future. And it's coming. So I'm really excited about that. And I could not be more excited about this ESPN deal and all the things we're working on. And as far as the question you asked me, pay-per-views for the fighters, not an issue. All these guys are going to make their money, believe me.
Well, I was going to say,
we're much smarter than that.
Because you also just signed a new deal with Khabib, and Khabib is one of your biggest stars.
Exactly.
So
we're much smarter than that. It has nothing to do with that. You know what? I just did an interview with a reporter before you. And he said, there's speculation out there that the days of big stars are gone. You guys don't care anymore and all this other stuff.
Right.
There's never been a more important time for big stars.
Yeah.
We're on ESPN, the biggest platform for sports on earth. Who can build a guy up and talk more about a fight than ESPN can? And if you look at the numbers that we're pulling and the things that we're doing in 5 months, wait until we're, like I said, a year and a half, 3 years. The The sport has never been in a better position. This brand has never been in a better position, and the fighters have never been in a better position.
All right, they're telling me to wrap up because we don't have too much more time.
Yeah,
but
I talk a lot.
I did want to ask you, though, you did say that Conor can sit back and do whatever he wants to do. And obviously there's always a ton of interest and speculation as to what's Conor's next move. What do you think it is? Is it a rematch or bust? Is it nothing but a rematch?
Conor 100% believes he can beat Khabib. He wants the rematch. He feels he deserves the rematch before anybody else. So we've got to see how these fights play out. You got to this weekend is a very big, important fight in that whole division and what's going to happen. Then in September, the Khabib fight will play out in Abu Dhabi, and we'll see what's next.
I mean, if one of those guys, though, Tony and Cowboy, go out and look just absolutely spectacular on Saturday, can you make?
I can't say that's going to happen. Anything is possible. I don't know who's going to come out of that fight banged up. Yep. What's going to happen to him and everything else. So we'll see. Yep. What I do like is after this fight, the other fight isn't until September. These guys will at least get some rest.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, man. I could go on for another half hour.
I could too.
Everyone's yelling at me.
I'm all fired up. Thank you.
We'll see you on Saturday.
All right, buddy.